Today we are going to discuss about plot synopsis. But before that, we have to review what we learned previously. So if you still remember, our lesson previously is about relative. This is not working. Okay, relative clauses or clause. Remember? This was our lesson previously. I'll give you an example. The student Okay, in this sentence, the student who got a high score attended an international competition. So, relative clause, where's your relative clause? Your relative clause starts with a relative pronoun, right? A relative pronoun. So, in here, we also use the words whose, where, where commonly that's what we use when we are writing a relative clause. Okay, so again, this is your relative clause. This is just a review, everyone. So if you did review your lessons last week, then this is just easy. Okay, so let's move on to our topic for today. So again, please go back to your lesson last week, review it, so that when you have your examination, then it will be easier for you to remember them, okay? So again, relative clause, okay? Next, let's have plot synopsis. Okay, what is this? What do we mean by plot synopsis? So before we discuss that, we're going to discuss what synopsis mean, okay? It is a short description of the most important information about something. A summary or outline. A summary or outline. Okay? So if we're talking about the story, synopsis is the outline or is the shorter version of the story. So let's say you have a whole book and that's just one story. So if you are going to make your synopsis, it's going to be way too shorter than your 100 pages book. So for example, let's say you read a story, it's a 10-page story. If you are going to write a plot synopsis, then you are going to most probably write just one page as an outline. Okay? So again, from 10 pages, let's break it down to just one page. But it doesn't mean that you have to make it just one page, okay? Plot synopsis, what's important is you cover the important details in the story, the character, the place, what is the story all about, the idea of the story. So you should make sure that it's included in your outline or your plot synopsis. So when we say plot, is the literary element that describes the structure of the story. So if they go together, you have your outline of the story, and at the same time, you are following a step in order to write your outline. Okay? Alright, so I have written here something for us to easily you understand how to write a good plot synopsis, okay? So in here you can see a straight line going up, going down, and a straight line. Okay, so exposition is conflict, okay? So it's the conflict, or what is happening in that story. Can you give me an idea of what is happening in that story? And then you have your rising action, and then the situation is becoming more serious until you reach your climax. So climax is the most important, like, it is where your readers feel the intensity of the situation or in that story, okay? It is full of intensity. If it's about love, then it's about conflict, about happiness. It is the part of your story that the children know. Your readers will most probably feel the intensity, the emotions in your story. And then we have your falling action when everything is already like becoming okay already, or there was able to resolve an issue. Alright, and then we go to your conclusion. So you see, right? Like, based on the name itself, conclusion, it is what happened or what's the ending of the story. Okay? So that's your plot synopsis. I'll just make it simple. And I hope that you did understand what plot synopsis is, because we covered what synopsis means and what is plot. So when we say synopsis, it is the outline or summary of a story or something that you've read. And when we say plot, it's the literary element that describes the structure of a story. So if they go together, then you will be able to have this. Okay? So we have, like, this is the plot. Okay? This is the plot. Now, the synopsis, the summary, it will be based on the story that you are going to write. But this will be your plot. You're going to follow these steps in order for you to write a good plot synopsis story. Okay? So yeah, that's it for our that's for presentation number 1. Later on, number 1, I will be discussing blur. So I'll see you. And that grade 7, and please do finish your activity, because that will be recorded as always. Alright, so for today's lesson, I am also including choosing a title in blurb. So please open your book on page 75. Okay, page 75. Alright, so let's understand what choosing a title is. So it says here, titles should not be long, okay? It should not be long. It should be at least, it says here, usually no more than 5 words. Usually not more than 5 words, or simply 5 words and below, okay? Because there are also stories which they use only 1 word title, like for example, anime. So that can already be your title for your story, and it will also give an idea of what the story is all about. So maybe this story is about the writer's enemy, or it can be a country's enemy. Okay, so when choosing a title, it should be not more than 5 words or 5 words and below. Okay, because if you put, as for my personal experience, like if it is like a 10-word title, I will not be interested in reading it, or it will not be, I will not be able to remember that story easily, because you know the title is very long. So the shorter, the better. Okay, and often only 1 or 2. Yeah, often only 1 or 2. Like I said earlier, like often they say titles can be just 1 word or 2 words. Often, but as much as possible, if you can just write 5 words and below. Okay. Next, they need to indicate what kind of story they refer to. So your title, even if it's short, it should convey, or it should be able to give an idea to your reader. So another example is my story so that readers or viewers know what genre or category of writing they belong to. So they know if it's about people, animals, things. So if you say my family, then it's about people, about relationships. Okay, next, good titles sound intriguing but do not give away exactly what will happen or what the outcome of the story will be. So, The War of the Worlds is better a Martian invasion or the defeat of the Martians. It is also more memorable because it contains, what's that, alliteration. See also the tip on page 20 in Unit 2 about story titles. Notice that in titles, the nouns, adjectives, and other important words have capital letters, but the grammar words, articles, and prepositions do not, except for the first word. Okay? So for your title 2, it should be, how do you say, the way that you write it, you should also be mindful of how you write your title. So capital letter, the words that should be capitalized, you should capitalize. If you are going to use prepositions, there's no really need to capitalize those, okay? Proper nouns, yes, you have to, like countries, name of people, name of places, you have to capitalize those words, okay? So again, on page 20, there is also a tip on how you choose a title, alright? So I hope that's clear. Okay, let's move on to blur. Blur, okay, blur. It says here on your book, just go to page 76. Blur is a short yet descriptive account of the book that goes on the back cover. Back cover. So this is the front cover, this is the back cover, and here where you can see your blur. This is where you write your blur. And it says here it's short, descriptive account of the book that goes on the cover, back cover. Okay, it still gives us information about the book, and since it's at the back, we call it blur. Okay, so on your book it says the aim of a blur printed on the back cover of a book is to attract readers, but without giving away exactly what will happen in the story or how it will end. Okay? It mentions the main characters and their general situation and tries to make them sound interesting and exciting enough to arouse curiosity. Blurs often end with a question mark or an ellipsis. Ellipsis looks like this. Okay, if you see this, like for example, there is a sentence, and then you see this, it means that there's more that you have to know. Okay? But if it's period, then it's the end of the idea. But if it's ellipsis, then it means that there's more. Okay? Or they say that blurs normally end with a question mark. So how about you? What do you think about how about you? What do you think about apples? So a blur will, it will make sure to capture the readers. That's why blur is also intriguing because they don't really give us all the information that we need to know. They are just giving some things about the story that will keep us wanting to read more. That's why if you see this, the back cover or at the end of your blurb, then it is actually trying to persuade you to read about the story. Okay, so that's your blurb, and that's about choosing a title. And earlier we also learned about plot synopsis. So later on I will be giving you another activity, and please do your best. Please do your best, and don't forget to